Hey everyone, Matt here from Docs Running, and today we're going to do a comparison review of the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel version 4 and the Hoka Mach 6. So these are both lightweight performance training shoes that can easily handle faster workouts as well as races. For a lot of people that maybe can't handle plated shoes, these are really good alternatives because they're on the lighter side, they're snappy, they're fun, they're fast. One of them has a super foam, the other one feels like it's really got some nice responses to this from the midsole. So good options for doing pretty much anything you want to do. So very versatile rides. Both have like very good followings. The Mach's been around for a while. Rebel's gotten a good following, but they are different shoes. And if you're interested in both these, I want to help you decide which one might work better for you. So let's start off with specs first. The Rebel version 4 is coming in at 7.4 ounces for men's size 9, women's size 10.5, or about 210 grams. The Mach 6 is coming in at 8.3 ounces or about 235 grams. My size 10s, the Rebel is 7.9 ounces. The Mach 6 is 8.6 ounces. So still some distance between them. Doesn't feel like it's that significant of a weight difference until you start to get into the ride, which we'll talk about in just a second. Stack height wise, Rebel is slightly lower at 34 in the heel and 28 in the forefoot. The Mach 6 is a little bit higher at 37 in the heel, 32 in the forefoot for a 5mm drop and a 6mm drop over in the Rebel. So ride wise, these shoes are really fun. They do really well for easy efforts. They do fun with long runs. They also do really well when you want to run faster. I've got some really fast workouts in both of them. And like I said, if the plated shoes didn't exist, it would be top choices for racing for almost any distance. They're that fun. Now, the Rebel V4 does have the advantage for me personally because it's got the new PIBA-based fuel cell midsole. So there's a lot of bounce from the sole. If you want a bouncier shoe, it's a little bit softer. It's not the softest, but it's a little bit softer and feels really nice, snappy, and actually has some flexibility. The Rebel version 4 is going to be the better option for you. The Mach 6 still has some responsiveness. This is a supercritical EVA midsole, which if you told me it wasn't, I kind of would have believed you at first when I first tried it on, because there's actually a good amount of resiliency, compression, and bounce back in the sole. It is much stiffer. I thought there was a plate in this initially, but there isn't as we looked at the specs and everything. But it has a fairly stiff ride. It's very well rockered, so don't worry about that. But it's still got enough responsiveness to handle faster runs and has done fine on workouts. So we'll talk about the stability in just a second. I think why that worked really, really well for me. Ride-wise, both of them are really well rockered. The midsole compresses really well in the Rebel. They both got fairly decent posterior lateral bevels. The Mach 6 has a better one, a little bit more stable transition about coming in. But again, the width is where things really change. So again, the Mach 6 is not bad. There's this little divot here, so there's a little bit lateral guidance in the midfoot. But the Rebel has this really wide sole throughout that makes it inherently stable. This is why we talk about wide midfoots all the time, why they're so good. Because without adding anything crazy, the Rebel has been really stable for me without getting in my way. The Mach 6 is the one that wins. If you really like sidewalls, this thing has sidewalls everywhere. Big one in the midfoot, really big lateral one on the lateral forefoot, which works really well for people that go too lateral to forefoot. So really good there. If you don't do well with sidewalls, the Rebel is going to be a better option for you. There are small ones in the heel and midfoot, but a lot of this comes from having the wider sole with a good amount of sole flare in certain spots that just make it inherently stable. Both work really well for me. I've done 15-mile long runs at both of them. They work great. I've done fast stuff. I've done shorter 30-second intervals. They work well. They just have different ways of accomplishing the same thing. Same thing goes for the upper, different ways of accomplishing fit. So the Mach 6 has a fairly narrow upper. I thought mine was a half size short initially, and I might need a half size longer. There is a wide version. So if you have a wider foot, you are going to want to think about the wide version of the Mach 6. It does have a narrower fit and a really tapered toe box. That broke in over time. It's felt good. It does feel like a racing flat because it does have that really close fit. But just make sure you know if that's something you want. If you have a narrow foot, this might work better. And if you want a stiffer heel counter, which is really stiff back here. The Rebel version 4 is the opposite. There's a much wider fit. It actually almost fit me a tiny bit short initially, but there's so much wiggle room and so much width and a little bit of volume. It actually felt really good. I like a little more room. I'm somebody that tends to gravitate towards shoes like Ultra shoes, although I can't handle that zero drop all the time. If you want that extra room, the Rebel V4 is going to be a little better. I did have to lock the laces down to get a little more secure fit, but didn't have any heel slippage. And there's a little more flexibility in the heel counter for those that are sensitive. So you have a little bit wider foot, Rebel's going to work. You have a little more narrower foot, the Mach 6 might work better. That's just how it goes. Final thing, durability. Both are good. I have 30 miles in the Rebel and about 25 in the Mach. The Mach has a little bit less wear. I think it's just a little bit more outsole coverage. The Rebel, as you can see, has a little bit more wear on that exposed fuel cell foam. I expect to get the same amount of miles out of both. At least, remember, I'm super hard on shoes, at least 200 plus miles at each one of these, which I'll try to get at least 1 to 100 miles. I don't know if I can get the Mach because it's too narrow for me. But durability wise, I'm expecting them to wear fairly evenly, but the Mach 6 is probably going to be a little bit better and a little bit more durable. Both of them are great shoes. They are great updates to the previous version, better in pretty much every way. So if you're interested in them, hope that helps you make a decision. If you have a different opinion about them, please let us know in the comments below, because I always want to know what the public and other people are thinking, because half the reason we do this stuff. As always, hope this helps you, hope this helps you make a decision if you're interested in either one of these.